Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Tales of Eldura today. We're actually exploring a new city in our game, unless something goes terribly wrong in the first 5 minutes. Anyway, we're really excited to introduce you to a new part of Eldora. And we also wanted to extend a special thank you to our wonderful patrons for sponsoring our stream. Your support means the world to us, and we appreciate it so much. And in case you're not aware, well, anyway, we'll tell them about our cool vampire adventure later. Will you remind me?
I will do my best.
Okay.
Our stream tonight is brought to you by Beth's beautiful book, Buried Heroes. Buried Heroes tells the story of a world of high fantasy, magic, and nature that teeters on the brink between light and darkness. Ancient forces awaken, and new heroes rise to the occasion. But this time, can they prevail? Find out in this exciting first in series novel packed with druids, pirates, werewolves, and so much more. And you can purchase Buried Heroes directly from Beth at bethballbooks.com or anywhere that books are sold. Go pick it up.
Yeah. I find my sheet that we normally start with. So, is there anything else I need to do? Are you ready to bring us in? I'm so sorry.
You find
I have all these bonus books for our session, and then I forgot my list.
how many books are you needing for today?
I have three just in case. None of them are our descent to Avernus.
Where are we going?
Oh, that's what I was supposed to say. Ew, you're going to Lis Maen.
No, I know
So
we're going to
Jonathan
Lis
and I
Maen.
are doing this is a one-on-one kind of remix of Descent into Avernus. But at this point in the adventure, we're taking like a side road in our adventure that's going to be really exciting.
Um, yes. And so, do you want me to have Gareth bring us in and recap what's going on?
I think so.
All right. Get my Gareth voice. I like to think of Gareth with like a little buddy underbite a little bit, just like one tooth, a little bit
Mm-hmm.
protruding. He's got like a dent in his upper lip from the one.
Oh, our buddy. Both buddies, our buddy and Gareth's buddy.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Gareth Stosdak. Here to wait. Recently, just a mild-mannered blacksmith plying my trade in the city of Respite, one of the great walled bastions of civilization in Eldura. I've had a good life in spite of my wife passing, and I poured my energy into my work and also looking after my boy who recently ish went off to the nearby holy city of Beacon to join the Army of Light and continue in his family legacy of serving in that great martial force. A few days ago, many hundreds, thousands of refugees?
It's thousands at this point.
Thousands of refugees began streaming towards Respite and setting up outside of the city walls, meeting a chilly welcome by the city guard, and an even chillier one, a deadly one, by some nefarious death cultist folks in power in the city. Discovering the refugees' plight and needing to find out more about what had potentially befallen my son, I spoke to a tree of divination, the seeing tree,
The seeing tree.
and found out through that and other means that Beacon had been pulled into the negative planes, but my son still lived. After confronting the evil noble that had been at the heart of the abductions of refugees and giving up the High Priest of Beacon, who had turned his back on those people, and Ilona.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
The Titan of Light.
The
Mm-hmm.
Titan of Light. Ilona, the Titan of Light. Uh, Giving him over to the authorities, we are preparing to set out from Respite towards Lis Maen to find a way to the negative planes.
Why didn't you tell them about the fancy thing that you found in Eliza Seymour's basement?
Oh, Gareth has a new traveling companion in the form of a sentient shield of great power, harboring an enigmatic um, more
Angel.
angel of some variety. It's obviously super evil and it will be a terrible idea, but Gareth will stop at nothing to increase in power as to better have a chance of saving his boy. So for now, we've made a deal with the shield.
Ooh.
That should be the subtitle of this episode. Deal with the shield.
Definitely.
Shield or no shield?
That's the question. You're too silly. Okay, Gareth, is there anything else that we need to know?
I don't know. Is there anything else you need to tell me? Because I forgot.
Will you let me know when our stream is back?
I do think we're back.
Okay. Hello, everyone. We're so sorry about that. Thank you, Spectrum, for cutting us off yet again.
This internet burp brought to you by Spectrum.
We probably shouldn't do that. They'll be vindictive about it. We'll cut this part too. Welcome back, everyone, to Tales of Eldura. Sorry about that. So, Gareth, you've taken your long rest and you've done a long rest for Tessina.
That is correct.
Cool. Okay. So I think that I can't remember what time it was. I'm so sorry. I should have written it down. I can't remember what time it was when you guys left Eliza Seymour's house, but I think between questioning Roderick and working with Millicent Legree and all of those things, cleaning up after Eliza Seymour, that you guys need to kind of like sleep, spend the rest of the day, and Evelyn will take you out the next morning. Does that work for you?
Yeah, we actually ran around and did quite a bit after, so that makes sense to me.
Okay. Oh yeah, I remember. So you stopped at the temple and you have your point of inspiration from speaking to your wife and taking her some wine to her grave.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
I'm a sweetie, and so is Gareth.
Mm-hmm. The priestess at the temple or Vulcan suggested or encouraged you at least to consider leaving the shield at home, but you told her that it was going to be fine.
Uh-huh.
And you guys also have
Making
this orb. Making good decisions. You also have this orb.
Yes, the orb is got some crazy runes on it, and we think that inside of it there is a path or a map or a key or maybe all three to get to the negative planes. And we need to go to the Witchwood to see Tessina's people in order to open it. But we're going to get there via Lis Maen so that we can make the trip shorter.
Right.
Also, honey, your video is not coming up. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Oh no! Well, I can see you and me. What should I do?
Oh.
I'll turn it off.
Yeah.
And then I'll turn it back on.
Oh, perfect.
Did that fix it? I'm back?
Yeah, turning it off and turning it back on again. The universal cure.
Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna flop us back over to our big world map so that we're on the same page. So the other thing that you understand from talking to Chesina, and I feel like I didn't do such a good job of explaining this during our last session. So there have been forces pursuing the refugees from Beacon, and so Evelyn's method, she's hoping, will be more subtle and let you come around. So you're going to go to Lis Maen. Can you see my map?
Mm-hmm.
Are we in the same spot? To deep in the Witchwood, and then basically around to the north of Beacon, or however it is that the people in the Witchwood are going to get you there. We will leave that to them. But yes, you were told by the Seeing Tree that your allies, your companions, would know how to get you to where you needed to go for your son. And so by speaking with Evelyn and Chesina, they kind of came up with this method to help get you there.
Perfect. And Evelyn knows how to get from Respite to Lis Maen. Because Gareth, I'm not sure, knows.
Yeah. So Evelyn, the next morning, I'm going to pull us back over to Respite. Evelyn, the next morning, she's already up by the time that you get up, and she's kind of checking through her pack and making sure her scimitar is sharp and all those good things. Or no, wait, what do we have? Yeah, our scimitar.
She'd be in good hands for that. It's Gareth. That's kind of his thing. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Can I change something?
Yeah.
I just remembered that I had been doing a daily kind of blessing on my shield, but now I have a magical shield, so I'm not going to do that.
Right.
And instead, I'm going to imbue my Blessing of the Forge on my hammer.
Ooh, nice. And with your shield, it's +2, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I forgot to teach you a synthesized version of the shield that doesn't spoil all the details for you, but I will make sure you have that for our next session.
It's okay. I know it's scary.
Yeah. So Evelyn that next morning says, all right, so we're going to want to head down to the docks, and I've arranged transport for us from there.
Excellent. I know that you're not from Respite, but I've never been to Lis Maen. Is there anything that I should expect?
Woods.
Just...
Fae.
Oh, God.
Neutrality, I suppose. So Gareth, I'm gonna tell you as me, because Gareth would know lots of these things. So Lis Maen is called the Gem of Eldura, or the City of Dreams, by many of its residents. So it goes by other names depending on where you are in the rest of Eldura. However, it remains the city that's the closest tied to the Brightlands, as the Fae made their home there in this general vicinity before the separation of the planes. So its central location in the world of Eldura and neutral stance in the war efforts make it a place where much information can be gained, but it is also crawling with spies from either side and from everywhere in between. So kind of across the spectrum of viewpoints in the world, you will find it in Lis Maen. So in what was once a Fae haven, dark warlords and shrewd dealers in various trades seek to gain power and retain it in this ever-shifting, war-torn world.
Cool. So kind of like a Casablanca situation.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to describe it. And so it's very forested, again, with close ties to the Brightlands. But the Fae left some time ago. So there are groups of druids who live in Lis Maen, but there are also, like I said, warlords and other kind of darker political organizations and all those sorts of things. Lots of traders kind of working in and out of Lis Maen with its central hub spot.
It sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just as a quick reminder too, so how most people might get from Respite to Lis Maen would be through an airship instead of traveling the way that you all are going to. Same thing for getting back and forth across a lot of the cities, though the airships aren't necessarily, especially because it is a time of war, the airships are extremely expensive. So most people travel by foot, but that is a possible way to get from point A to point B.
Evelyn, how much is this? How much is this boat ride gonna set us back?
It's free, but it's not a boat.
No?
No, it's more interesting than a boat, I like to think. Give your cat. He's a Tressum. Do you have your Tressum? Yes. Princess Slobberchops has his little crown and his he has like a little pink backpack and his painted fingernails. So he has all his cat accessories.
And flat face.
And his flat face. All his cat accessories on a little backpack behind his wings. So he's ready to go.
I would like to put some ball bearings and a dagger in Slobberchop's little pink backpack.
Okay.
Just in case. You never know.
Okay, you can totally do that. Is there anything else you want to do before you leave your home or your new home?
I think that Evelyn and Tessina would see Gareth looking pretty trepidatious. He's already kind of seen to the forge, and he's got his apprentice and James working on keeping things running. But
and your James is there to kind of see you off that morning too.
But Gareth is kind of dragging his feet a little bit.
Gareth, are you okay?
Oh, yes, of course.
You have all of your things?
I do. It's just, it's a little bit difficult. Well, I haven't left Respite in almost a decade.
Are you scared?
Well, I'm not scared. I'm not scared, but I'm.
Are you worried?
It's just there's been a lot of change very quickly, and I guess we're just going into more change. So here we go.
Yeah, well, maybe at the end you just come back home with your son and everything goes back to the way it was.
That would be nice.
You need to hold my hand?
No, I don't want Evelyn to make fun of me.
Okay. If you need to secretly hold my hand, we'll try to shield this from her, okay? Do you need a moment alone with your house?
I already said goodbye.
Oh, good. Okay. I'll wait outside. Yes.
So he's going to make a fond farewell to James and his apprentice, and then he's going to meet the ladies outside, and we're going to head to the docks.
I think James does the hand clasp back pat hug. Yeah.
Bro hug.
We'll take good care of it while you're gone.
Bring it in for the real thing, James.
Okay, so you make your way to the docks?
We do. To the docks.
To the docks. Wonderful. So, you all approach the docks, and for a few moments, the waters seem totally clear. You see actual ships kind of floating in the harbor. And it takes an hour or two to get all the way outside of the city and to the docks, especially as you are kind of winding your way through refugees. Um,
Are refugees in the city now at all? Has that changed?
Changed overnight. But you assume that it will soon change once um, Captain Legree kind of gets to the bottom of things with speaking with Rorek, find out what's happened, as well as once the city kind of deals with Eliza Seymour's death. So at the moment, that hasn't changed, but you think it soon will.
Have I heard anything about Eliza Seymour as we kind of go through the streets? Is there buzz in the streets?
Roll a perception check.
First check of the night. Perception. Here it is. Ba-boom. 13.
Okay.
A gentleman's
So with your
13.
13, a gentleman's 13. With your 13, you do overhear just a little bit of whispering in the middle city. You don't really hear anything in the lower city, but you hear a report of some sort of disturbance and a night watch raid on Eliza Seymour's house. But it doesn't seem to be clear as of yet what has happened, other than the fact that there's been, again, search and raid.
Cool.
And you hear gossip, people kind of trying to find out what's going on, but thus far, and the other kind of common thing you pick up is, well, with the Night Watch, we may never know. They're not the most forthcoming organization in the city government.
They're called the Night Watch, so that makes sense.
Yeah, that's kind of their job. So you guys make your way through the edge of the middle city, out of that gate, through the lower city, out of the city gates to the docks outside of Respite. Crystal clear, sparkly water. You kind of wait for a minute. Evelyn just stares out at the water. You see Tessina.
Where's our boat?
I told you we weren't taking a boat. And she does the cool whistle that you do with your two fingers.
You should do it.
I can't like that. I can only whistle in. They're like, wee wee.
Yeah.
Whistles are so cool. I
know.
I've never been able to figure out how to do it.
I think it's a dad
There's
thing.
no point in me just blowing on my hand. Only dads can do it.
I don't want to limit people and what they can do, but in my experience, I think I've only seen dads do it.
I don't know if I've seen anybody do it in real life ever. I think I've just seen it in movies. Anyway, so out on the ocean after Evelyn does her cool whistle. She's not a father, by the way. Much to Garrett's dismay, I'm sure. It's a couple hundred feet out. You see kind of a ripple starting in the water. And Tessina's up on her little tiptoes trying to see. Princess Slobberchops is up just above her head, flapping, trying to see. And out of the water emerges. It doesn't look exactly like this, but out of the water emerges.
Will you hold it up again?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I wanted to find my description. Three hippothals, shimmering green seahorses covered in teal and emerald scales.
Wow.
I'm basing it off of our new Mythic Odysseys of Theros book. They have it, it's a hippo camp. So I was imagining it a little bit less seahorse, or more with the little curved tail seahorse this one looks more maybe a shrimp. I don't know.
Looks a little bit more slithery or something.
Yeah, so this is not slithery, but they kind of, they're almost bronching on the top of the water, just on their little seahorse bodies.
Are they whopping like blargs?
They're whopping like blargs.
Nice.
Or in Animal Crossing with the, where's it, sea jockey? You guys are the sea jockey.
Perfect. How frightening.
So they kind of hop along the top of the water, and they whatever the force noise is, up to you guys, and there's kind of like a spray of water. Princess Slobberchops is already like, what the? As the sorry, I forgot what I called them. Hippothaws arrive.
Tessina, is Princess Slobberchops gonna be okay with this?
I will. I'll put him around with like my jacket or something. So, Princess Slobberchops doesn't look happy. But he's like clawed onto Tessina's back. So he's like, well, stop that, and they get themselves settled. Just fine.
Real quick, are we meant to? Do these things go underwater? Or are we like kind of horsing over the water? Do they have saddles?
They're going to horse over the water. They do have saddles. It's very exciting. So kind of just above their little fins, they have these saddles that have kind of like a butt scoop area that you can kind of balance on. Super convenient.
Perfect. I think Gareth is going to pick the sturdiest looking one since he's aware that he's pretty heavy with his chainmail and giant evil shield.
Gareth, do you want me to help you strap the shield on your back for while we go?
I got it.
You don't want anybody else to touch it, do you?
No, it's not that.
Evelyn pokes it.
Does anything happen?
She pretends, so she like pokes it. Ah! I'm just joking. Nothing happened. Did it zap you when you first touched it?
It zapped my brain a little bit with words, but other than that, no.
Okay.
I don't want to. I'm gonna whisper, even though I assume that the shield can read my thoughts. But just in case, I'm gonna whisper to Evelyn. I'm pretty sure it's bad, and so I'm trying to limit its sphere of influence.
Thank you for protecting us.
Me and Vulcan got this.
What does Vulcan think about it?
He hasn't made it clear yet. Are you ready to go?
Just like a god. Okay, yeah, I'm ready. So Evelyn kind of like hops on her Hippothaw's saddle, pats it on the neck, and phew, off they go over the water. Your Hippothal is a little bit slower with your shield. You're like every once in a while you feel like it's kind of trying to blow you off because of the wind resistance on the water, and it's like bouncing over these waves. It's really exciting. Gareth, why don't you roll a dexterity check for me?
Dexterity, not animal handling, but dexterity.
Would you rather roll animal handling?
Yes. Is that
I'm
okay?
trying to see how well you're staying on the Hippothal.
I'll roll whatever you tell me, GM.
You can roll your animal handling check.
Here we go. 7.
Your Hippothal is it's being dainty with you. It's a little bit worried about you falling off. You hear the Hippothals calling back and forth to one another, and the other two, once yours says something, seem to kind of whinny giggle. You're not sure what it has communicated, but it seems to be about you.
Freaking Hippothals.
Evelyn calls back something from like she's like a couple 100 feet away, like ahead of you. And she and her Hippothal have to keep like circling back. You see Princess Slobberchops just
having a bad time.
Yeah, he's not having a good time. So roll a perception check for me.
Here we go.
As you get across the water.
A little better to 15.
Okay. Sorry. My accessory. You see a bit in the distance, and you see like kind of jaws snap out of the water, a couple 100 feet to your right.
Oh my.
A plesiosaurus nab like this bird that's been skimming low over the water.
Did you see that?
Let's see if she saw it. Yeah, just don't put anything in the water.
We're in the water.
We're too big. Just so Evelyn kind of circles her hippothal back around, and as long as there aren't like 5 of them, we'll be okay. They're not going to take on something so big. It's a cool way to travel, right? I mean, it would be crazy loud too. I know I am not really capturing that. I forgot the water travel music, but waves are crashing, and at least it's a pretty day. Yeah, salt water's going everywhere.
I think Gareth looks like he's in hell.
Oh. So
This is why I haven't left Respite.
This exact reason. You knew.
I knew something was gonna happen.
So the plesiosaurus does swim a little bit nearer, but I think especially with the 3 hippothals, it decides that you guys aren't worth it, and it kind of dives back to find easier prey. And so a few hours later, the 3 of you arrive in the harbor of Lis Maen.
Ooh.
Towering domes. I know, isn't it pretty? I couldn't find exactly what I want. So if anyone have additional visual aids while watching us, if you want to do a Google or do a Pinterest for solar punk aesthetic, that's what we're really going for here. But I will describe it. Towering domes of stained glass catch the low afternoon rays, refracting beams of colored light across the glittering waters that surround the harbor. Airships drift low beneath the clouds, making their way into port. Dripping vines and thick layers of moss hang from the sun-kissed structures. And I wanted to show, I was doing some research, not really research, I was going through all the cool books earlier today. I wanted you to be able to see what the airships would look like. And I think that, let me see if I can get this. Sounds a good example. So they look a lot like, without the little ring. So I think they would still have sails and everything, but they look a lot like regular ships, kind of like we would imagine, but they kind of sail like Treasure Planet. And especially with the sails, or at least the ones that are landing in Lis Maen, they tend to have like golden or metallic sails that, as I don't know if Gareth knows or not, but just so you know, they're powered by the wind and the sun.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
How do they make those, Evelyn?
Make the ships?
Yeah, what? How? Wow.
I think they learned it from the Fae.
If we meet a Fae, I want to learn how to do that.
Not all of us know.
If we meet another Fae that knows, I want to learn how to do that.
Okay. Yeah. There's a special school here that we could visit if you want, where they study that and train, but I don't really know anyone there.
Well, Tessina's friendly, so maybe she can help both of us make some friends over there.
Yes, that's a good idea. Tessina's like just wide-eyed looking at the city. So your hippothaws kind of land at the dock, and a little halfling dressed in green greets you and holds out his hand to help you off of your hippothaw.
Greetings.
Oh, welcome to the free and independent city of Lis Maen. I'm Howie. He holds out his hand to try to help you off.
I mean, I think Gareth would be a little bit shaky. I don't think he had a great time at the crossing, so he'll take Howie's hand.
Okay. Howie works really hard to help pull you off of your hippothaw. It kind of shakes its head at you and dives back into the water.
I'm so sorry.
Are you okay?
Yeah, my mic just like flipped out. Here we go. We should not be suddenly deafening people anymore.
Your voice seemed like an octave lower.
Yes, hello. I put on the Gareth mode.
I can hear it. If that's a real thing, or it's just in my head now. Okay. You let Howie help you off the dock?
Yes.
That filter is weirding me out.
It's not a filter. Is it really being weird?
It sounds so much lower, yeah.
This is my regular voice right now. I'm not doing anything weird.
It just sounds lower. Anyway, moving on. What brings you to the free and independent city of Respite today? I see that you seem, well, both new and a little damp.
Yes. Howie, my associates and I are looking to find passage to the Witchwood.
Why would you want to go there?
Let me look at how...
From behind you.
I was going to say, what's this guy's asking a lot of questions?
We're simply trying to go into the city, Howie.
Right. That's what we're doing. Do you all know each other already?
I'm sorry. I'm like really distracted by your weird voice. It doesn't seem like they know each other. It does seem like it's this person's job to ask questions when people are coming into the city. He's got his little clipboard and everything, and so he's jotting things down. But I'll just get your names then, and kind of, and you can be on your way.
I'm going to nervously double check my 2 artifacts of pure evil, and just, I'll say I'm Master Gareth Forgesmith.
Roll a deception check, Gareth Forgesmith.
I'm trying to take cues from Evelyn and be cagey. What a disaster. Here we go. Deception's my thing. Oh! Say it and it will be so.
What'd you roll?
I rolled a 19.
Thanks. Okay. Oh, wonderful. And your associates are, Evie and Tess. Evelyn just kind of like glares and wraps an arm around Evelyn. Around Tessina, and kind of pulls her away. She's like ready to make a new friend. No, just kind of pulls her along the docks.
Bye, Howie.
Goodbye. Roll a perception check, Gareth.
Perception. Here we go. I rolled a 10.
Cool. There we go. I just want to see kind of what you're paying attention to in the city. Also, I think we need to pause for just a second because your mic really is weird. And I want to make sure you're happy with I want to make sure it's recording correctly and everything. Is it okay?
Just I'm getting indicators from it that. Huh. Do you want me to hang up and come back?
No, I'll just try to get used to it. Oh, I already described the city to you. So, Evelyn kind of gestures for you to follow her down the city streets. The city streets are very, very clean and pretty. And so right off of the docks, there are some kind of towering buildings, most of which are made of glass. And you see kind of between the different panes, and it seems almost one with the architecture, are structures of vines and moss and kind of plants hanging off of the building. So it's, if you think of a vertical garden, but in the form of a city, it's hyper reflective, it's very, very bright. And most of the glass is colored so that so it's less blinding than if sunshine were just hitting straight panes of glass. But at the same time, it's still very bright and flashy. And so with your 10 perception check, everyone around you seems to be very well dressed. You see people mostly moving in groups and move relatively quickly between the different structures. And then across the top of the city, there are lots of different aerial bridges. So most of the buildings are connected via these bridges. And so you see them at kind of all different levels. And so Evelyn says back to you, keep your heads down and follow me. And she leads you around to the outskirts of the city. And so pretty soon after, so even just a couple blocks after the docks, you kind of find yourself in the middle of a forest, out of which occasionally grow these giant glass buildings. And so the walkways and the bridges still arc over the trees, but it's kind of so in the middle of the trees as well.
What is the verticality here? I know I get it that it's tall, but are we talking 10 stories, 20 stories, 50 stories?
I think closer to more 10 stories. So some buildings are 2 and 3 stories. Some are more 10. It just kind of depends.
Evelyn, where are we going?
We've got to go a ways into the city. Trust me. Gareth, you don't have to just trust Evelyn, though. First, is there anything that you are looking for as you walk around?
I would be looking for any refugees that fled Beacon that made it this far.
Okay.
And I would also be looking around for anybody sporting any Brainworn or Rekka or Vecna iconography or anything.
There's no Vecna. Zarmav is our undead deity.
Yes.
And then I also want you to roll a D100 for me.
A D100, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Would you believe that I rolled a 5?
I would. Okay, and I want you to roll one more perception check.
How did I roll a 5 on a D100?
You rolled a 0 and a 5. Just as likely as any other number.
How about an 8 for perception?
8. You're going to find all kinds of things.
Perfect.
At first, You notice when you are, I mean, in this city, I think it has a very different feel from Respite. I think it's about the same size, though it is more spread out. But the streets of Respite are relatively clean and the buildings are close together. And they've managed perhaps more people here, but they're spread out and then spread up. So you notice around the forest floor that there are both down here too. You guys aren't the only ones kind of picking your way through. Evelyn is walking as though she knows precisely where she's going, though you can't tell for sure if she's on the path or if it's just kind of worn between the trees. But you do see a thin human child following you, who she kind of keeps her distance, but she has a relatively persistent cough.
Can I drop a gold piece behind me and then keep going for a little bit and see what she does?
Okay. You drop a gold piece. How obviously do you drop it?
I think I would make it look like a little bit of an accident. Like, doo-dee-doo, I'm just fishing around in my pocket, scratching my leg.
Mm-hmm. Do you drop the gold piece? Do you check to see if she gets it?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Drop the gold piece. Cling, cling, cling. Asina looks at you. Did you drop something, Garrett?
Be cool.
Oh, okay. Asina starts this, like, weirdly obvious
No, I said be
tiptoe
cool.
walk. Pouting beside you. The little girl misses the gold piece.
Oh. I drop another one.
What are you trying to do? Okay.
I do it really obviously.
Okay. Yeah. Oh! Behind you, and like a little scurry of feet. She gets much closer to you than she's been as she scoops up the gold piece.
My Shield of the Hidden Lord has a fireball spell, so I'm gonna not do anything with that right now. But I would like to. So she picks up the gold piece.
Mm-hmm.
She looks happy. I think I would do it again.
Okay. She's creeping a little bit closer to you now. You drop another one?
Yeah, and I'm just gonna like I know that she's like paying attention, so I'm gonna just drop another one and pretend like I'm not doing it, and just hope she takes it again.
Okay. She picks this one up too. She's within like 20 feet of you all.
Oh man, I keep dropping all this gold, and I throw another one. And this time I'm gonna like pitch it over my shoulder, kind of like in an arc, not like a beam, but kind of an arc.
Mm-hmm. And see if she catches it.
Yeah.
Here. Ugh. And you hear cling, cling, cling. She does not catch it, but she's gonna go find it.
As she
You hear like a rustling off in the trees, some grumbling.
As she goes to find it, I'm gonna go approach her.
Oh!
Hello, little girl.
Kind of holds the piece up to you, and
hello, little girl.
you dropped this.
Are you okay? I kind of close her hand around the gold piece.
Oh, that's sweet. I'm okay.
It sounds like you have a
for
little
me?
bit of a cough.
Maybe.
Well, is there anything that I can do to help you?
What do you mean? You gave me this, and then she's got like the pieces all like smushed in her hands. One hand has two smushed, and one hand has the third one smushed.
How long have you been coughing like that?
Like a couple weeks.
King.
Since before we got here.
Oh, where did you come from?
Beacon?
Is that so? Did you know that I'm from Beacon?
And you got out too?
Well, I left Beacon a long time ago before what happened. Do you have anybody with you?
My dad is here.
Do you think that you could show me where your dad is and let me talk to him? Do you think that I could hold your hand while you take us there?
What if I get you sick?
I'm not worried about that. I'm really tough, see? And I flex.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, so she kind of puts her third money in her hand and takes yours, and Evelyn and Tessina are kind of just behind you.
As we go, would it be possible for Gareth to kind of check her out and see what seems to be wrong? Is this like what kind of cold or something like this?
Why don't you roll a medicine check for me?
I will. I'm going to say, under my breath, by the flame of the forge, and cast guidance on myself.
Okay.
16 plus 3 for a total of 19.
So Gareth, holding this little girl's hand, you see that she has bandages down her arm, and on one of her legs, as well as some like kind of red marks on the side of her face. And you are able to put together, based on what Tessina has described to you, and what you know of ailments, what you know of people getting too close to a fire or getting trapped somewhere, you would assume that this probably started with whatever it was that happened around Beacon. You know that there were fires, that there were kind of lightning strikes, as well as a big storm. So with the timeline that the little girl has said, and some of the disasters that you can at least imagine with the city getting pulled into the negative planes, you assume that this started around then.
Okay.
So the little girl takes your hand, and she leads you kind of away from the city, but in a different trajectory than Evelyn was taking you.
Is it okay if I check with, just kind of over my shoulder? Is this okay? We have time for this detour?
Yeah, you check over your shoulder. Evelyn kind of just nods to you. You see her kind of mentally marking where you are every once in a while. Sorry. As the little girl takes you through, the forest gets a little bit denser, but you can still hear voices kind of echoing down through the trees from the walkways above. And you start to see little clumps of families gathered in trees or beneath trees, or some on branches. You even see some groups where the trees are kind of close together, where it seems like several families may have kind of set up a small community. The clothing of these people is different than the clothing of most of the people kind of walking around in the city. And so instead of the kind of fine garments, you see very organic clothing. It seems to be made from bark and leaves and moss. Some of it even you would almost swear moves or seems alive, like it kind of bobs, it seems to breathe with the air. Half of the people about living in the trees have clothing of this sort. Another half, you, especially looking at the little girl, you can kind of start to put together that it does look like there are some refugees from Beacon who did make their way here and are kind of, it'll be like one or two kind of scattered among the different families who live under the trees. So the little girl takes you to one kind of clump, and you see a heavily
Can I
bandaged.
interject?
Oh, sure.
As we walk, can I get her name? Can I say, little girl, my name is Gareth. What is your name?
Ruby. Ruby.
Ruby?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a pretty name.
Thank you.
What's your daddy's name?
Evan.
Has your dad been doing a good job of taking care of you?
He's trying really hard. He's going to be so excited about the money you gave me.
And he treats you nice?
Mm-hmm. He's sad.
I'm sad too. But that's okay.
She kind of thinks about that, like, sad. And she hurries as you get closer to one clump of trees that she seems to recognize. It's like there aren't very many willow trees, as this would be a strange environment for there to be one, but a willow tree appears, and so you see a woman kind of holding back the branches and peering out, and she waves the little girl forward, as well as kind of like studying the three of you, especially Princess Flower Chops. She thinks is rather a surprise. But she kind of waves you all in. Your father's been asking about you. Here, come in. And so you guys kind of go beneath the canopy of this really large willow tree, and you see it's relatively shaded under here, though they do have lanterns kind of set up around. And you see in this kind of pseudo hammock around near the backside of the tree is a heavily bandaged man. So he's got a bandage like over an eye and down kind of one side of his body. It looks like he's suffered some pretty extreme burns, but he kind of smiles and winces when he sees the little girl. And Ruby, what are you doing here? Who bring your friends here? Who are they? And he kind of gestures and gives her like a one-armed hug, and struggles to kind of stand up and holds out a hand to shake yours.
If I could, I would signal that he doesn't need his hand up. I'd go over to them both.
He's already on his way up, so he's gonna manage it.
Your daughter was just telling me that you all are coming for Beacon, and she seemed to be a little ill. It looks like you all had quite a time. I'm Gareth, by the way, and these are my companions, Tess and Evie.
Evelyn and Tessina's fine here.
I go,
we have had a rough time of it. But Ruby, were you lost? What happened? I was walking and this man kept dropping money. Oh, we'll talk about that later. How about you go get some water? So she kind of scampers over. You see a couple other little kids. They're all older than she is, but you see a couple other little kids by the tree. Thank you for helping my daughter get back. You were asking about Beacon.
yes, but first, can Gareth, heal this guy? Can I do, like, a cure wounds or a lesser restoration or whatever it would take to help him out?
Yeah, would you like to try?
No. What do you want me to do? My intention
What would you like to try?
My intention is to heal him, so I guess I'll try a...
Okay.
I'll try a... I'll do a cure wounds.
Okay. So I want you to roll a medicine check with advantage, as well as roll your cure wounds.
Okay. My cure wounds is gonna look like 9, and I'll roll my medicine check with advantage. And I probably said, by the flame of the forge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably. I said it in my head, and then I rolled a 1 for that. So a total of 13 for my
Okay.
medicine check, but a 9 points of healing.
A gentleman's 13.
A gentleman's 13.
Okay, so Gareth, you roll your medicine check, and you, as you kind of lay your hand on this man, you feel the healing energy kind of ebb out from you, and you know that this was like a powerful kind of breath of healing and rejuvenation from Vulcan. And see the man kind of close his eyes and sigh. But strangely, as you're waiting for the cure to kind of take, it does a little bit, but it would be like the visual equivalent of about 3 points of healing, rather than the 9 that you were expecting. So you see, like, things get better, and the man seems really, really relieved. Oh, thank you. I really don't know what to say. And the woman who greeted the little girl kind of comes over and invites you guys to come and sit beneath the tree near the man's hammock.
Sir, I'm from Respite, and my boy was in Beacon when whatever happened. Is there anything that you can tell me about what you saw, what you all experienced? How did you come about your wounds? They seem... It seems like you're suffering quite a bit.
Well, the area we were in caught fire with the lightning storm as our second sun darkened, and it was all I could do to get my Ruby out. We lost everyone else in our family, but she and I managed to make our way here. And you can hear in this man's voice too, like there's a scratchiness. That, I mean, you don't know him, so it could be there all the time, but he's not coughing like she is, but it seems like there are kind of multiple symptoms to what's happened.
I'm not smiling at his pain. I'm smiling at Carolina, who is like either snoring or fighting in her sleep. I can't tell.
Oh, I thought you were laughing at me. I couldn't figure out what I had done.
No. What did you all do in Beacon? How did you make it all the way here?
We a ship, and well, and after the fact, bought the passage. I snuck Ruby on board, and we're still working on a way to pay that off. But these people have been kind enough to shelter us for the time being. We didn't live very near the middle of the city, not near the citadel or anything of that nature. But you live on the outskirts of one city, move to the outskirts of another. But that saved us, or her and I at least, in the end. And he, like, having spoken this much, it gets kind of like caught stuck in a fit of coughing, and the woman leaves and comes back with like a special kind of steamy broth for him. And you see that Ruby has something similar. You're like Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda. And can I meet the lady that's taking care of him?
Mm-hmm.
Gareth would want to know what the passage cost.
Okay. Who are you asking?
I'll just introduce myself to her and then I'll ask him. So,
Okay.
thank you for. Do I get a cup of soup?
Oh, would you like one?
No, I'm okay. I'm Gareth.
Ashlyn, by the way. Oh, nice to meet you. Ashlyn.
Ashlyn. Are you from Lis Maen?
Yes.
It's good of you to take in people that are less fortunate. I wish that more from Beacon had met those of your kindness in my city of Respite.
Well, we do what we can, and I guess in the image of the shepherd.
Do I know about Shepherd?
Roll a religion check. Actually, I'm sorry. Roll a history check.
History. Here we go. Cow. 7. We should have had a really big fight today because I'm rolling garbage.
Poor honey. I can have something come ripping through this little community if you really want me to.
I want everything to be nice for Ruby.
Okay. You don't know who the shepherd is.
I say yes. And I think
Roll an insight check.
16.
Okay. Evelyn looks at you like,
So Gareth is going to file away to ask Evelyn about the shepherd later. And he's going to turn his attention back to Evan and say, your wounds seem to resist my supplications for their healing. I wish I could do more for you. Can you tell me how much it cost you to get to Lis Maen, to bring Ruby to Lis Maen?
yes, it was 20 gold for each of us for the passage. And you know, Gareth, what would that be, about 4 years salary for an average working person?
Mm-hmm.
And someone who lived on the outskirts of Beacon, that would be potentially more for them.
I think Gareth is going to say,
Ruby comes running up. Papa, look! And she gives him the 3 gold that you gave her.
yes, Ruby was very helpful in getting us oriented to the city, and I promised her 3 gold. Well, I gave her 3 gold really as a down payment, but... Are you laughing at Carolina's giant flop?
Yeah, it sounded like we got attacked, and then our little belly is just...
Our pink belly. We're very demure.
We're so slain. Yeah.
Gareth is going to say, yes, I give her 3 gold as a down payment, but I haven't given her the remainder of her payment yet, and I think I have that here. And Gareth is going to take out 50 gold and give that to them.
Hey, cannot mean this too much. We have no way to repay you. The lady kind of, Ashlyn just gives you a hug and a kiss on the cheek. I
I don't want you to repay me, but I do. The way that I want you to repay me is to make a new life here in Lis Maen and give your girl the opportunities that she deserves, that I would want for my boy if he was here in her situation. Evidently they have a good school here. They could teach you how to make flying ships if that's something you're interested in.
Evelyn pipes up behind you. The Artificer Academy.
Hear that? The Artificer Academy.
He's like kind of like wide-eyed, just trying to take this in, and kind of nods. And I can. Thank you, sir.
And I think that Gareth would shake his hand and then lean down and give Ruby, lean down to Ruby's level and say, now, Ruby, you mind your father and remember that it's okay to be sad sometimes. That's normal. And every day I would like for you to try to do a nice thing for somebody.
Mr. Gareth,
Yes,
do you think that we'll ever get all the way better?
I do. Do I?
At this point, Ashlyn kind of pulls you aside and can we just a moment, sweetheart? So yeah, she kind of pulls you to the side and says, so much. But if there were more that you could do, there seems to be a rather strange supernatural nature to what they experienced in the city during the travesty. Who are dealing with it. The shepherd is doing what she can, but I think that 3 able-bodied people such as yourselves might be precisely what she needs. If you would, if you can manage to find her, I know she's working on what it would take to find a cure.
I reached out to the Lord of the Forge, and it didn't take. Are there many afflicted like this?
Most who have made it here, yes. I don't know if it was the particular part of the city that they came from. Many are suffering from burns that are difficult to heal. It seems a smoke remains in their lungs that nothing will shake.
And the shepherd. Sorry.
You have gotten worse and succumbed to the sickness. We've tried many different healers, but can provide temporary aid, but nothing more.
You say the shepherd is working on healing these people or finding a cure. How? I didn't want to look silly in front of Ruby, but
She thinks that's really cute.
who or what is the shepherd, and how do I find them?
Oh, well, she shelters deeper in the forest. Um, if her location tends to change, and well, we we keep it rather secret, you see, or she has to keep it rather a secret. But those who know the way can tend to find it.
I give a significant look to Evelyn.
Who closes her eyes and bows her head to you.
And I'm going to say, yes, Ashlyn. We will seek out the shepherd and see what we can do to help.
The other cheek, and then kind of runs back over to the little family, and Ruby and the children are playing with Princess Slobberchops, who is like strutting with her crown and backpack. I think she's really cool.
Perfect.
Evan is just kind of like overwhelmed with your laying back on his hammock, and just kind of just like you see a couple of tears just kind of falling down his face, like he doesn't quite know what to do.
Gareth is going to walk over to Evan and kind of put a hand on him and say, I'm a father too, and I would want... I know that you want the best for Ruby, and I would want somebody to extend the same kindness to Patrick. We're going to find a way to make you both better.
Elena, bless you. Thank you.
Keep the courage.
Okay, squeezes her hand. I will. Thank you. You are exactly what we've been hoping for.
So I'm gonna ruffle Ruby's hair, and then Squad's gonna roll out.
Okay. On Princess Slobberchops. Goodbye, everyone. Tessina's made a whole bunch of friends while you were gone. And she's acquired some new accessories, you see. It seems that she's exchanged like a friendship bracelet system with some of her new friends.
Nice.
And Evelyn kind of walks up beside you. Very kind of you, Gareth.
I hope we're not derailing your plans for us in Lis Maen too much, but I feel after the bloodbath and respite that doing some unequivocal good might be just the thing.
Have you ever heard of anything like that woman was describing? A supernatural injury that can't be cured?
Actually, when we were in the dungeon, that devil, when he carved into me, it was more than just blade, and the wound seemed to resist any kind of healing. It seems to have a touch of the infernal about it.
It's kind of an aftershock or something of pulling the city into the negative planes.
Perhaps. I would assume that there would be some serious ramifications of suddenly dropping a city through planes of existence into negative planes. So, I don't know if perhaps we need a certain blessing or what is going to be the way forward, but it sounds like perhaps the shepherd will know. You seem to know about the shepherd. Do you think you could illuminate me so I don't have to pretend to know what's going on?
Fine. I'm glad you didn't embarrass yourself in front of Ruby. I was actually taking us to see her. I was hoping she could arrange our flight into the Witchwood.
Oh. We could feed two birds with one piece of corn.
Those are the phrases of one ear of corn.
Ah, maybe that's it. I haven't done much.
One piece of corn sounds nice.
I haven't done much agriculture work in my life.
Oh, you need to be careful with birds. Anybody needs to be careful with birds anyway. They're kind of temperamental. But yeah, I'm glad we came. Thank you.
Thank you. So going forward, Ruby is the most important thing in Gareth's life besides Patrick. So
I'm going to tell Tessina.
Tessina's a big girl. She'll be okay.
I'm going to be a little jealous.
Princess Slobberchops could be jealous.
Princess Slobberchops is jealous of no one. She's like everyone's most important. Trusum cat. Okay, well, I'm glad that Ruby is so important to Gareth. I think that's really sweet. Okay. So as Evelyn guides you kind of out of the willow tree settlement and kind of winding... Are you asking me something?
Uh-huh. I did notice that it's 8:30. Did you want to take a break here as we transition to the shepherd?
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. I wondered if this is going to be a spot.
When we left off a moment ago, our party was making their way through the woods guided by Evelyn. So as you guys continue on, and again, the one thing I was really worried about with capturing this city is the scale, because the city stretches across basically the entirety of this island. So it just depends on kind of where it has a kind of different pockets, I guess you could say, that are more densely settled than others, but still occasionally you pass by these kind of giant glass structures. But as you go further, so 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour outside of the willow tree, as Evelyn takes you all deeper into the forest, you pass through a few ruins, and these are kind of buildings of smashed colored glass that the trees have begun to reclaim as their own. And in the upper story, some of them you see kind of the glowing of bright lights are swirling around, and Evelyn kind of points it out to you and to Tessina and says, there's some fairies keen to make themselves a new home who are resettling here. So she kind of keeps taking you. The buildings get sparser and sparser. It's starting to get dark. Especially because you were in the forest already, but the sun is setting and close to set. And Evelyn kind of tells you that it's not much further now. And then roll a perception check.
I'm going to roll that perception check. As I do, can Gareth ask Evelyn what... you said that the forest was kind of reclaiming some of these spaces. Can I ask Evelyn what happened here? Is it just these were abandoned? Where's this coming from? What's changed here that the forest is kind of retaking that area?
It depends.
Sorry, I'm going to continue my awful shriek and roll a 4 for my perception check.
Okay, thank you. So Evelyn says, it depends really. There are a few places where someone took their neutrality a little bit too far, and we had to intervene, or someone else did. Some infighting in other places. We're not always sure what's happened, but people are there, and then they're not. We don't know if they've fallen through to the Brightlands, or if something else has transpired, perhaps a betrayal within their own ranks even. I'm sure the stories are different for each of the buildings. And the city is dependent on, as you might guess, the city depends on the forest, and the forest, I actually don't know if the forest depends on the city or not, but in some places it at least doesn't seem to mind it being there. But in the places that are abandoned, it's not long before the forest starts to take back over. And those who are at the different harbors especially don't really find their way out here. It's more dangerous territory, I guess.
Well, we'll be careful.
So your 4 perception check does not prepare you for the gurgle of a growl burbling up from the trees ahead of you. Tessina kind of beside you grabs Princess Slobberchops, backs behind you in your evil shield, or your angel shield, whatever it is.
We
a
know
great
it's
green
definitely
wolf
an evil
slinks
shield.
out of the forest. I don't want it to be like the GM says that you have an evil shield, but if we can be on the same page about it.
No, it's not you. It's like literally the art for it screams, this is an
Super
evil
scary.
shield. And he's super sketchy. So
Something important is happening.
yes, there's a wolf.
Great green wolf slinks out of the forest. Much of its fur seems to be made of sweeping vines and emerald and copper flowers. And it has a long swirling tail that kind of glides through the trees behind it. Evelyn kind of slides in front of you and throws out an arm. You hear a woman's voice calling, "Had degree," in Elvish accented common. From out of the trees behind a wolf, an elven woman with silver white skin and sweeping garnet hair emerges, carrying a long, twisted wooden staff. "Oh, you found friends, did you?"
Friends indeed, I call out.
Evelyn kind of glances over her shoulder and smiles at you, and the elven woman kind of comes forward and holds out a hand. "Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Rowan."
Uh-oh. I'm Gareth Stosdak, and these are my companions. Buck is going to do the talking for Verdigris.
Evelyn and I have known one another for a long time. It's good to see you again. And they embrace, and kind of as they do, you notice the swirling vine tattoos on Rowan's arm move.
Cool.
She greets Tessina as well. Ahead, you hear, "Welcome to our forest, Gareth Stosdak." He kind of bows his head.
I think Verdigris is super cool. How big is Verdigris again?
Like 7-8 feet tall.
That's cool. Okay, so Gareth is going to say, "Rowan, were you expecting us?"
Not exactly. But I'm glad you're here. Should I have been? She kind of leads you all through the forest, so you can talk while she takes you through the trees.
I think Gareth would tell. Well, Evelyn trusts Rowan, right? And so I think Gareth is gonna give a Spark Notes version of what they found and did in Respite, and then I think that he's going to mention, Ruby and the plight of the Beacon refugees, and see if she has any extra information about that.
Yes, what we've been finding thus far for those who've come from Beacon, it's not universal, but for those who are affected, it's been pretty terrible, and our magic and medicine haven't been able to hold back the sicknesses. We've made some progress, but not enough.
Do you think that this has something to do with... Do you all know anything about Asriel and why she would bring Beacon into negative plane?
Rowan kind of glances at Evelyn, who stays silent for a minute and says,
I'm cool.
I know that. I have an idea as to why, but maybe we should get somewhere safe first, and that'll give me time to find a way to explain.
So we proceed cautiously with the party.
As you go, roll a general wisdom check for me.
Wisdom. How about a 16?
Okay, so as you walk, your shield kind of pushes against your subconscious or your consciousness. Your companion knows more than she says.
When I talk to the shield, it's just me talking in my head, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hidden Lord is a little bit...
Yes, my child.
Ooh. Not sure I like that.
You'll come to like it in time. What would you prefer for now? My servant? My loyal follower?
How about partner, since I'm carrying you around, and without me you'd still be hanging on a wall?
How about shield bearer? That sounds important.
That's actually pretty good.
Yes, loyal shield bearer.
She told us that she was going to tell us more when we got there. What are you not saying?
Why didn't she tell you this before?
Oh, the shield meant my companion is an Evelyn? Oh. Well, she is a private person.
That's a good reason for her to betray you.
That was a bit of a jump, Shield Lord.
You say that now.
Well, with you watching my back, what do I have to worry about?
It giggles and the voice disappears. As you all walk,
Gareth's
Evelyn and
nose just
Rowan
starts
kind of...
bleeding.
No. Unless it does that on its own. But yeah, the Hidden Lord is not attacking you. So they kind of pass some pleasantries back and forth. So Rowan and Vertigree also roll a nature check for me.
Nature check coming up. Here we go. Wow. I rolled a 6.
Okay, Tessina is going to help you out. Gareth. She's like tugging on your shield. Vertigree, he is a demon. One of the old descendants of Fenrir. Like the wolves of the Brightlands. And I have been talking. He has lots of cool things to say.
Why hasn't he talked to me?
It maybe kept him kind of busy.
No.
There's lots of questions about Princess Slobberchops.
As Vertigree's not going to try to eat Princess Slobberchops, is he?
He says he does not like the taste of Tressum.
That's a good thing to know, and you don't know until you've tried.
Well, I kind of pressed him about it because I was worried, but he said he has not tried a Tressum, but generally pink-clad creatures, he just leaves them alone, so I felt better. I'm really glad that we disguised Princess Slobberchops before we left.
And armed her.
I forgot. Well, she already has her claws. How is she going to use the little balls? What is she going to do with them?
I imagine that if she gets in a sticky spot, then she can use one of her amazing claws and release the balls, creating a difficult space for anyone that would be foolish enough to try to pursue her.
Well, and she could just fly away, so she wouldn't have to even worry about the balls flying around.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if she ever needs to use the dagger, then she can... I think the dagger is probably more for us. Eventually, one of us is going to get tied up with rope, and that dagger's going to be clutched.
Yes, well, I hope whoever ties us up doesn't think to look in the pink bag.
No, Princess Slobberchops is smart enough to not get tied up. We aren't.
That makes sense.
I imagine a new warlock patron. It's Princess Slobberchops.
Like her little Tressum fatness.
Yeah.
I think that sounds awesome. Okay. So, Rowan and her demon Vertigree show you through the woods as the final rays of light kind of drip away from the sky. She leads you onto a path that curves through the trees to one of the largest of the glass buildings that you've seen, even near the docks of the city. Voices echo back to you through the woods as you draw closer, and you see bookshelves growing out of the moss-covered floor, and a few colorful leaves kind of drift down from the canopy above you. Rowan leads you into a shelter that was once a great library, and says, "Welcome to the storied glade."
That's a really good name.
Yeah. I'm proud of it. Ta-da!
Ooh.
Hey everybody, I would have made a map, but my wrist was bothering me too much, so I made a little picture instead. Leads you through the rows of shelves and to the small alcoves to a domed hall in the back, lit by glowing fairy lights. Roll a perception check for me, please, Gareth.
Perception check. Here it comes. This is going to be one of the not bad rolls. 15. 15.
That was the DC. So you notice as you're going, a larger percentage of the people here are refugees than you saw in other places. That you saw at least closer to the city where you all landed. But there are still people who are the kind of moss-clad people that you saw before. And let's see. You also notice that these lights that are glowing down this hall are tiny fairies. They're not just dancing lights, but they're just little fairy beings.
Okay, cool.
Their skin is made of bark and they glow kind of yellow. Have really bright little voices, and as they all speak together, you hear kind of different nature sounds. So you hear kind of like the babbling of a brook or crickets or bird song that adds an ambiance to the library beyond the actual natural sounds around you. The hall opens onto a round room with curtain chambers on either side. So she leads you kind of through to her rooms towards the back of the library. Against one wall, you see a modest bed. The far wall holds a kitchen or kitchenette, and the other side holds pots of paint and brushes of various sizes next to a golden box covered in a scroll pattern. There's also a work table and a low couch on that side. And all of the walls in Rowan's part of the library bear swirling scripts painted over spectrums of color and light. So she's kind of decorated the stained glass windows.
Do I recognize the script?
Roll a wisdom check. Perception is fine, sorry.
17.
Oh. So some of it is in Druidic, some of it is in a Celestial script, some of it is in Elvish. So it seems to be, for the most part, words and blessings and things of that nature. Some of it you aren't quite sure what it is.
Cool.
And some of it looks to be like a pattern that she liked. As far as you can tell.
Okay. And are we the only people in this space?
So as you come in, this is, my room, and it's, now that it has 4 of us, I think we'll be set here for a while, but everyone else is spread out elsewhere. I'm sure you'll meet them all tomorrow.
What is this place?
Oh, sanctuary of sorts, I guess you could say.
A sanctuary for, people like you and Evelyn?
Some people like Evelyn and I, a sanctuary for refugees, a sanctuary for those who lost and need to find their way, and for those who are seeking answers.
I look at Tessina and say, well, Tessina, it seems like we've come to the right place.
I think so. She kind of goes up to study the walls, and then she goes over to the paints and starts kind of... Okay. I'm sure you all are tired from your journey. Can I get you anything?
We are, but I know that we're... Do you have any chilled red wine?
I have regular red wine. I do.
Oh.
Yeah, I
Okay.
figure out how to make it cold. Hang on just a moment.
I think Evelyn has something she can do.
I'm gonna throw a blade of ice at it.
What? Why not?
So Rowan kind of goes into the kitchen. What if something attacks us in the middle of the night, and I've used my last ice spell on your cup of wine? It needs to be at this special temperature. I got it. And so you see, kind of Rowan just kind of blows into the cup, and it's like a white mist, and you have a special glass of chilled red wine. I hope it's still fine. I don't know. Is Garrett drinking like a sweet red?
I don't.
It's just regular wine that's cold.
Yeah, I don't think that it
It's his
matters
thing.
that much. It's his thing.
Okay. Great. So, Gareth, you have your glass of chilled red wine. Everyone else has regular wine, except for Princess Slobber Chops, who has a little bowl of milk.
She doesn't drink wine out of the glass.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He loves wine.
No! Okay. So I think that, and Garrett would say, Rowan, Sanctuary sounds wonderful right now. I know that we're anxious to learn whatever we can about the shepherd and what we can do to be helpful.
You're looking for the shepherd.
Oh, I look over at Evelyn kind of guiltily.
Evelyn grins at you. Meet shepherd.
We found her.
Sorry, I didn't introduce myself that way.
You should lead with
Yes,
the title.
That's. It's a little dangerous at times, depending on who one is speaking to, or when it's hard to know who you're speaking to, at least. But I developed a small reputation in the city, but these things happen.
We heard from Ashlyn in the city, who's taking care of some refugees from Beacon, that you were attempting to find some kind of cure for the terrible burns that the Beacon refugees sustained as their home was drugged into the negative planes.
Yes. I'm glad you're here. Actually, I'm hoping that, well, if the three of you are willing, that you might be able to help me with that. I've been doing some research on my own, but can't necessarily leave the people I have here in the state that they're in, at least, to go make the inquiries that I need to make. I think it's going to take some bargaining at the very least. But something tells me that one of the warlords who lives nearby may know something.
Oh my. What, can you tell us any more? What is it that you would have us do? How can we be of aid?
I guess I'm torn between sending you on a diplomatic mission and sending you on some sort of espionage quest. Or something in between. I guess it depends a little bit on what the three of you think you might best be able to manage. But it has thus far been beyond me to negotiate a meeting with this person, but I've been asked to kind of keep an eye on the situation, and at some point I think I'll need to be here to find out what's truly going on, but I want to make sure that all the refugees are in a good position before I do so.
Who is this warlord that you're trying to meet with?
Well, he goes by Lucian.
Fans of Beth's fiction.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. Oh my god. Okay. Yes, I know nothing about him. Sounds like a charming fellow.
So Gareth, you do know that the warlords in Lis Maen are, the fact that Rowan is calling him a warlord kind of gives away some of her position. Anyone else would call him a traitor or something that sounds a lot more neutral. But especially since you know Evelyn and her feelings towards neutrality.
You said trader, not traitor.
Yes, sorry,
Gotcha.
Trader.
I was just like, whoa.
Sorry. They sound the same, especially when you enunciate them extra. Anyway, Trader, trader. Or tradesman, something like that. Tradesperson. Someone else, especially someone who was trying to curry favor with him, would use that more neutral language, kind of referring to in people in Lucien's position, so not just Lucien, but people in his position pride themselves on their kind of prowess at negotiations because they're managing these multiple sides in the war. So they're managing the space between Alessandra, who is bent on revenge against the Titans and the destruction of the world, and these kind of city-states that are trying to stand up for themselves, or the city-states like Palais that try to kind of stay out of it. But Lis Maen has managed to stay out of it the most thus far, in part because of its independence and its ties, somewhat its ties to the Bright Lands. The forest kind of protects the region a little bit more too. So anyway, that's kind of what you're dealing with when it comes to Lucien. And Rowan's going to say, something tells me that he may have more information or the ability to at least... Oh, sorry, that's Evelyn's voice. He may have more information or the ability to get more information than he has let on thus far. But it's tricky in terms of price. There's nothing that anyone we know can do that would come close to the type of sum that he would demand, especially as he would understand that anyone asking for it would be quite interested in paying whatever they could. And so that I don't know that the price would ever have a way of coming down, I suppose. I don't know that it's necessarily that there's a cure just kind of sitting around there either. I've done what I can, and I've been placing wards on some of the people here. And now that she says that, Gareth, especially with your good perception check on your way into there, you did notice that there were kind of on the people as you were coming in, you noticed like a marking, whether a tattoo on the wrist or on the neck, or some of them were wearing more of a necklace. But for most of them, it's a physical marking kind of on their person of that's in like a light blue or a soft white or a light brown of a phoenix.
Not unlike our logo.
Not unlike our logo.
Whoa, okay. Cool. Does Evelyn have that? Have I seen that on Evelyn?
We haven't seen one on Evelyn.
Wonder where her tattoo is.
You have seen, however, a phoenix on Evelyn's belt. That was one of the first things you noticed about her.
Cool. So, perhaps some outsiders might be able to meet with this Lucien, or perhaps we can steal the information. I'm very sneaky.
You seem it. Verdigris just kind of glares at you from across the room and slowly shakes his head. We would be incredibly grateful if you could do this for us. And, well, I would like to offer you something in return. You said that you need to go into the negative planes to try to find your son?
Yes, my son Patrick was in Beacon, and we found out that he's still alive, but We were warned not to tarry. We came here hoping to secure transport to someone who can help us with this. I show
You
her
pull out
the devil orb.
It's not a devil orb. It's
The
like it is a dark
orb
scrying
of
orb.
shadow scrying. I remember things.
Separating out fiends and shadow is really important.
Okay.
Oh my. May I?
Ooh.
She kind of just like leans forward and studies it.
Is the kid making that sound? Just suck it.
So she studies. Do we need to stop? She kind of stares at the orb for a second. Interesting. Yes, I think it may be beyond the powers of anyone here, but Tessina, I think that your people would be well suited to that. And she kind of perks up from her exploration of the paints and says, "Yes, we do not fear shadow," and goes back to what she was doing.
What's scary about that?
Make you all... Exactly. Thank you, Gareth. So Slobberchops has paint down the middle of his nose. I want to make you all an offer. If you're willing or interested, if there's a way that I can provide any sort of warding, aid, or protection for you as you embark on this new part of your journey, I'd be honored if you would allow me to do that.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, so, honey, and me. So you can pick... Actually, sorry. So Evelyn... I'm so excited. Rowan takes you over to her... Rowan takes you over to her kind of wall of paints, to the little gold chest, and opens it up. And you see a collection of needles, smaller inks, and a little kind of holder gun that holds the needles.
Oh my goodness.
And so Evelyn kind of rolls up her sleeve, and you see the markings that you had first noticed that they had faded quite a bit. But Evelyn has like a script kind of sleeve tattoo, and says, Rowan's quite gifted with her, well, I guess, special form of artificery. Anyway, but I guess there are lots of options for whatever it is that you want, but take some time to think about it. So, honey.
Yes.
You can pick from, and we won't do this right now. I think probably at the start of our next session, I'll have you choose.
Okay.
But you can pick from one of the Unearthed Arcana tattoos.
Cool.
And I have them. I saved them here. So, and I can email this to you, just to go over them for you really fast. Oh, and I also thought that some of these spells would be really cool for Tessina, especially the summoning of the spirits for our witch subclass. So the magic tattoos, it will depend a little bit on how long you're willing to take, and then how much space that they take up. So there's an absorbing tattoo that it does require attunement, but it gives you resistance to a type of damage. So that was one I thought might be a really nice option.
Yeah, because we're going into some scary places.
Mm-hmm. There is a barrier tattoo that adds to your AC. Coiling grasp tattoo. I don't know exactly what it does. Eldritch claw. The Illuminator's tattoo, I think, is the one that Evelyn has. There's a Blood Fury one. I don't know what it means, but you get a crit hit on a 19 or a 20.
Ooh.
There's a Ghost Stab, Spell Rot, and Masquerade, as well as a Shadowfell brand tattoo. So, anyway, some options to think about. I'll make sure that you have this, but I would like for you to pick one for Gareth, and you can pick one for Tessina as well, if you would like.
Ooh, that absorption tattoo would heal him.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because you would, if you use your reaction to gain immunity, and then you regain a number of hit points equal to half the damage you would have taken. So, that's pretty cool.
Did you take the damage?
No, you gain immunity to that kind of damage.
Cool.
It'd be like, oh, here's a pool of lava. Fire! Ah! And you could heal yourself.
I want to read that, because I don't know that you guys can have the legendary versions.
But
We'll talk about it.
it's only very rare, so it's only 2 limbs or the entire chest and upper back.
So it depends on how long you want to stay. Anyway, cool, right?
It is cool. I can't wait to look at these more carefully.
So that would be a nice option
Yeah.
for you. Kind of I was excited.
These are fun. The Unearthed Arcana is often so fun and different and interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay, do you want to just stop there for now and we can pick up with Evelyn and Rowan later?
Sure. Do we need to? Yeah, if you want to stop them, we can, or we can talk to them some more and then start heading out to deal with Lucian.
It's kind of up to you, but if
Can we talk to them while we're getting tattooed? Wait, then I would have to pick one, and I need to look these over.
Yeah.
Aha.
You can talk to Rowan for a little bit that night if you want to. The tattoos will happen after you guys get back.
So the tattoo is kind of like the reward for helping with the Lucian situation. Can Gareth ask just a couple of questions? Rowan, this warlord Lucian, where is he? Is he nearby? Is he in a fortress?
He's relatively nearby. It's just a couple hours travel. A fortress of sorts. It's very well guarded. I think of it maybe something like a military compound or something along those lines. But he keeps close allies nearby and a sharp eye on others. We've had some concerns in the past, but that's been interrupted by the installing of refugees from Beacon. And
does he take, is he like a warlord that's like, come on in and stay a while and I'll host you? Or is he like a warlord, like gates locked, guards?
to those who have something interesting to offer, he is willing to invite them in. And what that interesting thing could be or looks like is rather flexible. And for those who have money to enter, they're welcome.
What if they had the I'm hoping that the appearance of wealth will be enough to at least get in the front door.
I think you'll be able to get in the door.
And he's an arms dealer, right?
And yes, among other things.
I wonder if you'd be interested in potentially powerful relics. Gareth is kind of making eyes over at his shield peeking up over his back. He's trying really hard not to think that, but I don't know how that works.
You hear a grumble in your head, kind of a growl. You could certainly attempt that. I think it would be rather dangerous, especially if he decided that he really did want it. It's extremely generous of you to offer up your scary magical shield for the refugees of Beacon.
Oh, I mean, just as a way to get in the front door.
Again, the question kind of remains of what happens if you can't get out of the front door. Sorry. A dog hair fell on my glasses.
Well, I can't stand.
I don't know how it arrived.
I mean,
I'm there.
I know, right? But we're so pervasive. Cool. Do you, Rowan? Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. You can talk to Rowan. Go ahead.
Rowan, do you think that the information that we need is kept somewhere? Is there a copy of some intel, or do you think that it's information that we would need to beat out of him, or?
I don't think you'll be able to do that. I think it's possible that it's information he might trade. It may be parts of it written down somewhere. I'm honestly, I've been hesitant to take this step, and it's one that I'm maybe more complex than we can even work out now. I know that you need to be on your way, and I'll make sure that Bird is here for you. If not, I'll make sure the Bird is here for you when you're ready to go. It may take me a day or two to get her. But Lucine isn't someone that I would underestimate by any means. But he does seem like somebody who would know and would be willing to make the information. He deals in information, among other things, I suppose, so kind of why I thought of him, but the fact that he has deeper ties to Alessandra than he would dare to let on.
I know we've had a long day. I rode to Lis Maen on the back of a seahorse.
Oh, isn't that nice?
It was a trying experience.
Oh.
But this wine is bracing me. Very good. Perhaps we will strategize. We'll strategize and prepare in the morn.
All right. That's good.
Is it late, or are we kind of gonna hang out and spend the night?
Yes, so it is late. If you guys are tired and want to spend the night, you totally can. You need to sleep somewhere. You probably shouldn't sleep just in the middle of the forest.
But what about all the fey pranks that can happen?
They aren't necessarily that kind of fey.
What about all the... Okay. Gareth, at some point in the night, is going to find a bit of private space, and he's going to take out the sketchy orb of shadow scrying. And he's going to look at it, and he's going to think, Asriel.
Make your wisdom check.
Wisdom check. Here we go. Wisdom check. I think he's going to say, Vulcan, be with me. So he can do his guidance, maybe? Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, I rolled a 16 plus 4 is 20.
Wow.
We finally made it up to 20.
I also want you to roll a stealth check for sneaking away in the middle of the night.
I get disadvantage on those, so no worries.
You wearing your armor?
I guess he would doff his armor.
Okay, so you don't have to roll with disadvantage.
Oh, 18.
Nice.
Secret agent. Stodak.
Nice. Okay, so you sneak off into the hallway, kind of around a bend, call Asriel. Aerith, what a surprise.
Asriel. It's been some time. How are you? I am well. Okay, let me collect myself. Okay, here we go. Asriel. We are working to understand and perhaps we're working to what do you say? Hold on, this is scary.
Okay,
He's gonna say
I'm gonna put on some scary music while you figure it out. Dun dun dun.
uh-oh.
Oh, this is it's not very scary.
It's like the chat is letting us know that they can see and hear both of us.
Oh, good. Thanks, chat. Okay, well, we'll just keep going then. I'll just talk to these little bouncy blue squares.
The electrons,
Ooh, I'm looking into the orb. Okay, talk to Asriel.
Asriel. In my attempt to find my way to Beacon, to accept your invitation, we've run into a man named Lucian who stands somewhat in our way. Is there anything that you can tell me about this Lucian that would help us deal with him?
And why should I help you, Gareth?
Oh, I thought that we had something. I thought that we had something special between us. You answer when I call.
I do. I'd be cautious, at least, about those special connections. I don't want to end up offering more than you anticipate bargaining with. This Lucian certainly has a dark fate, but I must confess as well that much of what I believe is set to befall him is beyond my own sight. Rather irritating. It seems you're dealing with one particularly shielded there, Gareth Shostak. I would be cautious with your little hidden friend. Lucian will find him quite intriguing to be sure. And he may, your friend, not appreciate the two of us speaking too much. Tends to get a little jealous.
Did you have anything to do with turning him into a shield?
No, I think it's a great idea. I'm really pleased with, we'll say, whoever did, but it was before my time, actually. Well, not before my time, but before my time here.
He's been rather obtuse. Can you tell me what he is?
I can. I won't.
Okay.
Gareth, you're going to need to make it worth my while, and I'm going to need to see that you can do that, so I'll be watching, among other things.
Well, until next time then.
Sure.
Oh,
You feel the kind of... Oh, sorry.
before we part, I hope that you'll be pleased that Rorik was handed over. I gathered from our conversation that you did not care for the High Priest.
I don't, but I don't care about the High Priest one way or another. I am really quite intrigued to see how these next few days go for you, however. Your fate is more mysterious than his. Those who avoid doom at all costs, and well, they tend to find it, don't they?
I suppose so. Until next time, Asriel.
Certainly. I look forward to the questions you'll have, Gareth. And so her kind of consciousness out of the orb. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. I think that's a good spot.
It is, except in the hallway, you hear, Gareth, what are you doing? And you see Rowan kind of peering at you out of the door to her room, to where you are in the hall with your scary orb. And that's where we'll stop.
Oh, I can't try to hide it? Okay, I would just play...
Try to hide it.
No, it's okay. We'll stop there.
Okay, we'll stop there and you can tell me what you try to do. How about that?
Okay. That was fun.
Good.
Gareth is in
Awesome.
love with Ruby.
Thank you, friends in chat. Oh, I'm glad you like Ruby.
She's so sweet.
I'm really happy you rolled a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
I'm sad she missed one of her monies.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay. You took care of it. It's fine. I just think it's really cute.
I'm terrified of Lucian.
That's good. I'd be so pleased to hear it.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Yeah, I can't wait till next week.
I'm so glad.
Lis Maen is
Thank
cool.
you, friends in chat. We're so happy that you're here. I'm really happy you like Lis Maen. I've been excited about us getting here for the last 7 weeks since I thought of it.
Do you want to thank our patrons and all that good stuff?
Yes. Thank you, wonderful patrons, for sponsoring our stream. We hope that you all are enjoying it. We really appreciate the support. It helps us out so much to to know that you enjoy and appreciate what we're doing, and to have that kind of financial support so we can dedicate the time to it as well really means a lot. So thank you all.
And if you enjoyed our stream, I hope that you'll give us a follow on Twitch and a subscribe on YouTube. The VOD should be up on Monday. So look forward to that.
Oh, and you can find our Patreon at patreon.com/GroveGuardianPress if you would like to support this stream and or the blog.
Papa Bam Exo let us know that they became a patron.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice.
Right?
We will be sending you a thank you message really soon.
Okay, until next week.
As well as this one right now. Thank you. I really like having people in the stream. That's so exciting. I'm like, it's fine. So I'm just looking at myself right now is the only thing I can see, because you're the little dots and I don't see the whole stream thing, but it's nice to know that there are people there. Hello.
Yeah, it's fun. Okay. Aw, thank you.
Till next week?
Until next week at 7 p.m. Wait, 7 p.m. Eastern, we'll find out what's going on with Rowan, and we'll pick a tattoo. And
Honey, do you want to let our patrons vote on a tattoo?
I was gonna say,
week?
yeah, let's have our patrons vote on a tattoo for Gareth over the next week.
Okay. And maybe we can set something special to determine like the epicness of your tattoo.
That sounds amazing. Okay, we'll figure that out.
Cool. I love it.
Okay.
I'm excited. I made a note to vote on the tattoo, so you're good.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Until next week.
Thank you.
Rogen. Dominus Fortuna.